what's cool to note here is how price induces the opposite of what to do, right? We tap into a higher time frame point of interest. London does. Now, this is key because this is intention to understand a London continuation or London reversal. Now, a key, if I zoom out, so a key to knowing London continuation and London reversal. Now, from a higher time frame perspective, this is the point of interest that price was in, right? Now, per my rules, the same thing as I treat this point of interest here is there's no inducement, it's all inefficient, you know. So for me, this entire range of prices is essentially inefficient. There's no inducement here. On top of there being no inducement, yes, this is a nice supply wick, but from a structural standpoint, it doesn't even sweep any form of like major liquidity as far as like sessions and things of that nature. So that's one thing to take note of. So zooming back in, that's a key point in understanding the intentions of these catalysts created in London. Are the intentions to create the highs of the day to reverse price, or was the sole intention of this was to only come create a higher low? Which it was, right? And also acknowledging the anatomy of this. The anatomy of this is paramount because we have a nice unsustainable price range here, so no inducement here. So once price runs this point here, there's no inducement here, right? So this becomes an automatic target, right? But nonetheless, acknowledge the behavior of price here on this swing here in particular as we go to sweep this Frankfurt buy side, sell side liquidity. Acknowledge how this entire range of price is inefficient. Now, we're not looking to catch this. Now, fractal. The fractalness and getting caught on the wrong side of the market and understanding that everything just has intention. It's supposed to do that. Now, from an internal perspective, this was a supply zone that broke structure, had a form of inducement that continued structure, right? So this is me. I understand my intentions with the market at this point. Right? I understand that we just ran Frankfurt sell side liquidity alongside just running Frankfurt sell side liquidity. We got a nice unsustainable price range that did so. Now, so I'm understanding that this reaction created at this is not to go continue price lower. Knowing my intentions, I understand the market's intention, the intention of this reaction, because it's supposed to react here. We just ran an internal inducement point inside of a supply zone. So the intentions of this reaction is only to create a higher low, right? Therefore, this is what we trade here. Now, we've broken this high. There's no inducement here. However, this is a beautiful supply zone. So for those that don't know no better, not understanding your intentions with the market, right? So therefore you can understand the market's intention. This looks like the perfect supply zone to sell off of. So what does it do? It gives a reaction. Nonetheless, it gives a reaction for the only intentions of this reaction at this point is to go create a higher low. Now, this ultimately being the best entry right here. To run price higher. Your very first target is that supply zone. But nonetheless, first, if we zoom out, first running this supply zone here, what rests directly above it? Why would price come stop at Asia? You have New York liquidity right above it. You know what I'm saying? So this is obviously first target for me. And it's just because it's Asia. There's no like there's no other like secret sauce or none of that. Just the main key is that it's Asia. You know, I like to see when Asia rests above places like that, because those become automatic targets for me. So price runs back down in there, and we continue to the upside. Right? Beautiful. You know, this is beautiful to see. You know, beautiful. It's just seeing that, like, even from a micro scale, the market still does the same exact thing, you know what I'm saying, from your unsustainable price ranges. So this automatically becomes a target. But what will it do? It's still gonna give you a reaction, right? The same exact thing this point of interest did. It's still a supply zone. It's a supply zone, but it's all just, there's no inducement here, right? But what did this same supply zone do from a higher time frame standpoint? What did that same supply zone do? It still gave a reaction. It still induced a sale, right? But it's just knowing your intentions. So my intentions is that when I get those unsustainable price ranges, right, with no inducement, right above a POI, the top of that POI becomes an automatic target, right? But I understand that that POI still has to build some form of liquidity. So there, me knowing my intentions, I understand that the market's intention, the only intention of this is to go make a higher low. And then what makes it even more beautiful is that the market creates intention. So the only intention of this drive here was then go create this liquidity to drive price higher. But internally, from a retail perspective and from a smart money concept, this looks like an internal breaker structure to the downside. This looks like a price continuation back to the price mitigate. This continue get a nice reaction here. You know, even is beautiful to the point where if you did miss that, look at the reaction price gives here. That's a whole 1, 2, 3. That's a whole 4 minutes, and 4 minutes behind the chart of a nice reaction like that. So some traders feel like it's about to be a good day. You know, we get a wick rejection. You know what I'm saying? So from there, it's just flowing. You know, flowing with price intention. Knowing when London's intention is for a London reversal or a London continuation, right? And you know that by zooming out, you understand those intentions by zooming out and acknowledging where you are in price, the timing in which things are taking place, right? The timing in which things are taking place. So nonetheless, price continues to upside. New York closes here, makes that high of the day. Mind you, we had just extended, but I want to zoom out because this is always paramount. I love to see what we ran. So keep in mind, we've extended, but we've ran a major form of liquidity here, right? And just always remembering that everything can't happen in one day. You know what I'm saying? The market can't take every form of liquidity in one day. So that's why it's easy to, not easy, but it makes it a little bit more easier to anticipate when the high of the day is potentially printed, right? It's easy to anticipate that this is the high of the day, considering that London runs that liquidity, right, and creates this catalyst, and then New York opens and then takes the sell side, the buy side liquidity of this catalyst and internally break structure. Keep in mind, we had just majorly extended. So therefore, there's a high probable chance that this is the high of the day. I can't remember if it's actually the high of the day, but I can almost guarantee you it's the high of the day. So nonetheless, I want to fast forward this up. Okay, So today, Friday, beautiful. I mean, beautiful. So what does Asia do? So Asia trades up, respects the New York highs here. Now, internally, this is what I was looking for. I was thinking that we would come get this high here in London, and we did, which is fine, right? So, but nonetheless, this was essentially my first point of interest to go drive price higher, right? I was thinking about, you got your nice inducement here, Asia comes in, but as soon as London breaks this now becomes a target, right? Because now I understand my intentions with the market at this point. I understand that now London just reacted from this low. Why did London react from this low? Because this was the catalyst that essentially broke structure, internal structure to the upside to continue price higher. So there's liquidity below this catalyst here, right? But it's understanding that now, okay, my intention with the market here is only to go create this lower high, this London lower high, to then continue price lower. That's the only intentions of this, right? But the beautiful part about this is that it's seeing internally how this essentially did the same thing over and over. Price does the same exact thing over and over. You got internal inducement built here. Price builds internal inducement here. Price runs that. So what does Asia do? Asia comes down and we finally take the catalyst of this low, this major low here, right? We get another reaction. But now I'm looking at this from a standpoint as, what's here? Right? If we just do this, what's here? Nothing. So once price took this catalyst, this is an automatic target for me. It's just a wick, but it's nothing. It's just nothing. No inducement, no nothing, right? But so this is the automatic target. So I know my intentions with the market. So I understand that the market's intentions, we just ran and watching, monitoring price at highs and lows, but only just knowing the intention of it, right? The intention of this drive up here was to go create a lower high, right? And then acknowledge the anatomy of all this price action here. The same exact thing. Why would I not take this beautiful, why would I not take this beautiful supply zone here? Because the same thing I said about all the other supply zones is because this entire range to me is inefficient. There's no inducement here. There's no inducement here. So this becomes an automatic target. But look at the beauty of this, right? The same thing is here. The same thing is here. Automatic target. But look at the beauty in all of these. Look at how all of these give a reaction, right? So this is, and knowing your intentions, I didn't do this, but it's easy to, when people ping pong the markets and they're doing this, taking trades like this. You could hedge this to here. You could hedge this by to this point of interest. You get look at this internally. Internally, you get a run on liquidity, internal breaker structure, inducement that continues structure to the upside. So you get some nice internal inducement. Very micro inducement here. This is ping pong. But you have to understand your intentions first, because if you don't understand, it's understanding your intentions. If you understand your intentions, the market's intentions is easy to read. Easy. You can easily hedge Come on, man. These buys up until that point of interest easily. And then from there, you get sell off, right? Price runs this. Nice. And so this was essentially inducing this high, and this was your inducement of this point of interest here. You get your nice run on liquidity, inducement that actually continue structure, and then break major structure, right? Break your major form of liquidity there. This in turn just causing that reaction to create this higher low, right? You know, and if you want to just go from a trend line perspective, you know, you got your trend line liquidity building here, you know, so you can see where the liquidity is building, then price sells off, you know, so it's beautiful, like seeing, this is easy stuff. This is easy, not even trying to be in the top of this and things of that nature. This is easy. This is where the shit gets easy right here. Easy, right? But from a micro M1 perspective, I'm still applying the same logic as I did from the higher time frame. Now, the beautiful part about this is when you understand what's going on the higher time frame, and now I'm just down in these smaller time frames looking for harmony. I'm just looking for price to align with my higher time frame bias. I'm not down here. I'm not on the higher time frame to get my directional biases bullish, and down here on the lower time frame looking for reversals. You know, seeing price you know, understanding my intentions of what's going on here. I'm not down. This doesn't scare me. I don't look at this as maintenance and, oh, we broke internal structure back to the upside, we shifted back bullish. No, because my narrative is not from down here. I'm just looking for an excuse to sell now. I'm looking at like, oh, this is actually in alignment. I see the liquidity has ran here. So what's the intentions? The intentions of this just to create a lower high. I see the inducement here. I see the unsustainable leg here. So I understand that all of these reactions, price should be doing that. Price is going to do that. It's not that it even should be, it's going to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because it did it. You know, this is already printed, so it did it. So that was beautiful.